The Trump administration has halted funding of $790 million for Northwestern and $1 billion for Cornell over potential civil rights violations. In other words, this is a part of the ongoing federal crackdown of anti-Semitism on campus. Well, Jessica Marzucco has been advocating for Israel on college campuses for 15 years, and she joins us now. Jess, what was your initial thought to this report?
Finally, accountability. When I saw that the funds were frozen and seeing what has been happening for the past few years since October 7th specifically, and this has been going on for over a decade, the intense anti-Semitism on these campuses. But seeing that this administration is now holding these universities accountable, it was a sense of relief because these universities are training our leaders. They're training the people who will be in Congress, the future presidents, in some cases, future professors. If we look just at Cornell, there was a professor there who, after October 7th, Raj, he said that he found October 7th energizing and exhilarating. Nothing happened to this professor. He wasn't disciplined. He wasn't fired. He took a self-appointed time of leave, and he is in class today, probably as we're talking, teaching the future leaders of our country this radicalized hate for Israel. And there are statistics that show when there are outspoken anti-Semitic professors, the anti-Semitic events on campus spike. So none of this was kept in check. And when you look at the accountability with what federal funding and where it's going, federal funding is just a fancy way of saying my tax dollars, your tax dollars, and those of the people watching. I don't go to Cornell, but my money is paying for students to go to Cornell. Let's talk about what it's funding. So the accountability that is now entering the conversation when it has been no holds bar for so long is refreshing.
So, what would you say to someone who would push back and say this is the Trump administration attacking free speech? Obviously, the other side would say, this isn't just free speech. So, what would you say?
I would say it's protecting the free speech of the students who are Jewish, who are pro-Israel, who do not agree with the chanting of globalize the Intifada, but they're intimidated into silence, to hiding in their dorm rooms, to having there was even a university where this demonstration stormed the library and locked the Jewish students in the library. So free speech is already in grave danger at these universities because these groups have been left with free reign. And when you look at the federal funding is on freeze, yes, that is not all the funding these universities receive. They're receiving, Cornell, for instance, they've received nearly $2 billion of funding from groups in Qatar. Qatar also funds Hamas. Do you think this is a coincidence? No. Do you think students are just chanting, globalize the Intifada? They just woke up one day and ate their, Lucky Charms and they want to globalize global terrorism? Globalize the Intifada is a very hygienic, polite way of saying we want to bring October 7th to your town, your neighborhood, and your home. So the free speech that is threatened right now, the civil rights that are threatened right now, are the people who are being intimidated into silence and speaking out because these groups have been violent and they've not been held accountable.
Jess, that's an excellent point. And as someone who has, dedicated over 15 years of her life to standing for Israel and Jewish people on college campuses, I think people don't quite understand, realize, appreciate what that's actually like. So as someone who's been on the front lines, can you walk us through what is it like standing up for Israel on American college campuses?
It is a battle and it's getting increasingly worse. It's like a tidal wave. It's like standing against a tidal wave right now with an umbrella. It is so overwhelming for the Jewish students, for the pro-Israel Christian students, for any student who believes Israel has a right to live in peace and safety. They're intimidated by their professors. I've had students who were marked down for taking a pro-Israel stance in papers, for speaking up in class. I've had students who had had rocks thrown at them who were spit on. And when they put up posters, including the faces of the children who were hostages, they were defaced with swastikas, they were torn down. And what is interesting, Raj, is when someone destroys property, that's just an example of what they want to do to you. So these students, they are radicalized, and they have a hatred that is, as Christians, we can say it doesn't just come from the human heart. It's energized by a very dark place. So the students who are advocating for Israel are the Christian students, they go in with prayer, and they know that they are up against it, and they will usually be the lone voice, and they've been shouted down. I personally have attended things like the divestment hearing at UCLA, where the anti-Israel, anti-Semitic groups wanted Israel completely removed from any association with UCLA, and the hatred in that room, and the Jewish students who needed a police escort to get to their cars because of fear of violence, it's real. The universities are, especially this particular issue, are so radicalized that the average American has no idea. And it's not a coincidence. These are not grassroots movements. The pro-Israel space is. These are people who want to do the right thing. They want to speak out for the Judeo-Christian values that are under attack. But the other side has so much funding. We have Saudi Arabia and Qatar building the Middle East departments at universities all over our country. I don't think the Americans are being told this. There's funding and radicalization being built into the institutions of higher learning in our nation. And we need to be extremely prayerful, and we need to be extremely truthful and be speaking out, because even on social media, you'll get some intense hatred. So it's a time to be bold, and it's a great time to be a Christian. I wouldn't want it too easy.
Well, Jess, I admire your courage. I admire your bravery. Thank you. Thank God that you are speaking out, my friend. Jessica Marzucco, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Raj.